Philip Stanley Wilberforce Goldson is one of the founding fathers of Belize's democracy. With more than 60 years of service, his life's work contributed to and shaped politics, activism, and journalism in Belize. In honor of World Press Freedom Day, the Institute of Social and Cultural Research put the spotlight on Goldson's career as a journalist. His work with the Belize Billboard propelled him to national prominence and landed him in jail. But Belize's press has come a long way since the Goldson era. And today, his life's work continues to inspire and empower many, including veteran journalist Adeli Ramos. Ramos was a guest presenter at the Goldson House World Press Freedom Day, where she addressed high school students.
I am a huge fan of Mr. Goldson, his work, and his role as a statesman, not just a politician, a statesman who fought for the causes that matter to people and used journalism as a platform to elevate. His journalism does have a lighter side to it. And I pointed them to actually this article over here that was published by the Billboard, which I find very funny, where it was kind of like reproducing a speech, but instead of actually reproducing the words, it goes blah, 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 and then it reproduces a part of what was said, and then blah, 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 blah. But back in the day, Mr. Goldson was using journalism as a platform to fight against the colonial rule and to promote the nationalist movement. And so it fell right in line with his ideals and what he wanted to accomplish.
Ramos, who comes from a family of journalists, has been a member of the press for 23 years. She has witnessed firsthand how mainstream media has evolved. She says that despite the new developments in media platforms, the public must be active media consumers and journalists must embrace new media.
Indeed, there are many instances where you have things reported or published or reproduced that are not true, or where people have their own agendas, so they use a social media platform to twist information and propagate things that may go viral to suit their own agendas. And so, to an extent, we really need to be discerning to be able to really not fall victims to that kind of propaganda. But there's a good side to it too, because I remember when we didn't have access to all of this and we started going on the online platform and we started putting our news online, and then social media came where we were able to then feed from our online platform into social media networks. And it's good because that's where the engagement is. That's the reality of today.
The students also toured the Goldson House, where an installation of articles and work chronicling Goldson's life is on display. Kendra Griffith of Goldson House says today shares an important out-of-classroom lesson with the youth.
We have the writer and journalist room, and in that room we have different stories and different articles that he wrote. For example, the 7 Days of Freedom, which he wrote contrasting life between Belize and Guatemala. Press is the guardian of free speech, which is perfect for today's celebration, which our theme is Let Journalism Live. We, in the room of writer and journalist, we always tend to share that even when Goldson was in prison, he was still writing. He and Lee Richardson would write on toilet paper, sneak it to the guard would take it to the cook, who would take it to his brother Lindbergh, who would continue publication. So we're just showing that with such perseverance, he did not let any obstacle come between him and sharing news to the society at the time. When we first started the discussion, we asked them how many of them would like to be journalists, and no hands went up. At the end of the day, at the end of the tour, I re-asked the question, and a few hands went up, and for us that is change in itself, because they started to share that they would like to start blogs, they would start to like sharing bits of news that's happening in Belmopan for itself, and that's how it starts, just little by little, and each step creating change. For us, it's just something that we want to share to inspire students that how journalism can change one's life and the society that we live in. And it's just with change within ourselves and pushing that change towards the people we care for and the country that we love.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.